For people who might not have heard of it, it's essentially the largest cash prize of any show in the world. Season 1, we had the most contestants of any show in the world, and the largest sets of any show ever to exist. And I was just like, what if you take like a reality show, but you just ramp everything up to the absolute maximum? And like season 1, we gave away $22 million just in one season, right? And you know, some of the biggest game shows in the world right now give away $250,000. Like we're giving away $2 million every episode. And so also,
holy shit.
My whole thesis behind it with this is, you know, when you watch these, you know, game shows or reality shows, there's a lot of takeaways, and like after the show, they'll put people in a room and they'll be like, hey, talk about what happened here. And it's like intercut. And I was like, well, what if we just have 1,000 cameras and we just let people be themselves and we kind of just show it in real time? And at this stage, like I say, for newer, younger entrepreneurs or people trying to be content creators or friend groups, everything, even at the stage I'm at, it really is, because you are like, you think, speak, talk, act like the people you're around. And like they say, show me the 5 people you're around the most, I'll show you what your future is. And it applies at every level. You know?
He says you can't be your own boss and be a shitty employee.
Wait, elaborate on that.
So if you work for yourself, if like you're the one who's out there doing it, you're like, so you don't work for anybody, but you also can't be a fucking lazy half-ass employee. He goes, if you're going to be your own boss, you better be a great employee. And I was like, oh shit.
Another thing I think is a thing that people should hear is, especially in America, do you know that, I mean, it's probably not going to surprise you, but 40% of food that's produced in America ends up getting thrown away?
I have heard that.
Yeah. And so a lot of what we've been doing is working with nonprofits and setting up essentially like, you know, so many stores and restaurants just throw away perfectly good food, or like they'll have things like if something's like within a week of being expired, they just toss it out because whatever. But it's like, it's perfectly edible. There's literally nothing wrong with the food. And instead of like buying food and taking it and storing and distribute it, just taking food that would have been thrown away but is perfectly fine and perfectly healthy, and just figuring out how in a couple of days to just get it to food drives or people in need. Like if you work at a retailer, I'm sure a lot of people here do, that throws away perfectly good food because they're like, they never want to run a risk of something being bad on the shelf, so they'll preemptively throw it away.
The amount of money and time and effort involved in this is like above and beyond what most people are willing to do.
Yep.
And it's way more than a traditional television network would ever do, because a traditional television network would look at the upside. They would look at the money, and they would go, we're going to spend X amount of money to make it this much better, but if we just take it down a couple of notches, we save 80%.
Yeah.
And they would do that. But you're like, can we make it even cooler? Let's put all the money back into the show.
Some of the communities, we were getting so many kids out of child labor, there literally wasn't a school because kids just worked on the farm. So like some of these, we literally built a school so they could go to school, because the goal isn't just to get the kids out of child labor, it's also to get them an education. So they're not, because if you grow up only working on a cacao farm, you have no education. So then you're basically doomed to working on it your whole life, because you don't know anything else, right? That's where it's going to get hard, because I think of like how addicted to video games I was when I was a kid. I mean, still to some degree now, but like, and if it was in a headset in like a completely different world, like, oh my gosh, like my poor mom, like good luck getting me out of that. Like she struggled to get me to stop staring at a screen and making Call of Duty YouTube videos and playing Call of Duty when I was younger. And but if I was like actually in a headset, and all my friends are on it, and then you take it off and now you have freaking homework and like real life stuff, and like you went from the most overstimulating, beautiful, different utopia world where everything's amazing and you're with your friends and you're having fun, and then you take it off and you're back in like real life, which sucks. Like that's like a whole different level of addiction than like current video games would have, because almost all the time, like we filmed in the pyramids, and I spent 100 hours living in the pyramids of Egypt. It was fucking awesome. And for years everyone's like, they're not gonna let you live in the pyramids for a couple of days. Like, that's crazy. And I'm like, well, why not? Like, did you get a no from the leader of Egypt? No. Then I'm like, well, technically it's possible, And after years of talking with them and helping them understand that, it's going to be more of an educational type video, and it's not like I'm not going to run up the pyramids and take my shirt off and be like a lunatic. It'll be really cool. Eventually they came around to it and they loved the video, and it worked really well. And it's literally like I could go anywhere in the pyramids for 100 hours. I went all the way up to the top of the middle pyramid. We went underneath it. It was really cool. And I like tell my team, it's like, even some of my most veteran people, when we get these crazy ideas, their default reaction always is to go, I just don't think it's possible. And I go, look, it is.